breaking out the bread machine again. Hello everyone, welcome to Semi Homesteading with Abby. Thank you all so much for being here. Welcome to my channel. This is called Semi Homesteading because I'm trying to learn all the homesteading skills, all the homemaking skills without actually being on a homestead. So if you have dreams of living off the land more, gardening, being more sustainable, but that's not necessarily the season of life that you're in, this is the right place for you. We're learning all of the homesteading skills. Now, it is zucchini season. My aunt gave me some zucchinis. Actually, she gave me quite a few zucchinis. And if you've watched my channel for any period of time, you may know that I'm kind of obsessed with this bread machine. It's a KitchenArm bread machine. Super easy. I've thrown together many loaves of bread in just a couple minutes because you just kind of throw everything in here, press a few buttons, come back a couple hours later, you have an amazing loaf of bread. So I wanted to make zucchini bread, which I've done many times just like in a bread pan and in the oven, easy peasy, but I wanted to see if I could do it in the bread machine. And to my elation, I have found that there is actually a zucchini bread recipe in the manual for this bread machine. Now, technically they call it zucchini cake because I think they have to make a distinction between like sandwich bread and something sweeter. So it is called zucchini cake. It makes a 1.5 pound loaf, so a pretty good size, and it looks honestly really easy to make. So without further ado, let's get into it and make some bread machine zucchini bread. Okay, the first thing we want to do is take out all of our ingredients. So I'm gonna, of course, take out the zucchini, which is gigantic, and I didn't end up using that much zucchini. Then I take out an egg, which later I actually learned that there's 3 eggs. So don't just take out 1, take out 3. We have salt, sugar, flour. I also took out the grater and a measuring cup because we're gonna need both of those. And we also have some baking powder and a kitchen scale. Now you're supposed to also have baking soda. And I actually had run out of baking soda when I was like deodorizing some things in my house. And so I did look it up. You can use baking powder as a replacement for baking soda. You just have to use 4 times the amount. So you'll see me do that in this video and it turns out fine. I think I have about 1.5 cups grated. I think I might need a little bit more, but look at this zucchini. That's how much got used for 1.5 cups. I have 4 of these. So one of them is slightly smaller. So basically 3.5 of these. I could make like probably 20 loaves of bread. I think I'm gonna have to find out something else to also do with zucchinis because I cannot eat this much bread. So just note that. If you have a ton of zucchinis, maybe this isn't like the greatest way to use it unless you want copious amounts of bread. All right, at this point, we're gonna take out our kitchen scale and take out the bread pan, put it on the kitchen scale and zero it out. It's really important to measure exact weights, which you'll see why coming up. Oh, I'm actually not even really close. I need 180 grams, and that was 90 grams. So I think it's basically 1.5 cups of zucchinis packed down, like shredded and then packed. And mine was not packed. So maybe I can use a little more zucchini and I don't have to break so much bread. Oh, too much. Okay, so after the 180 grams of zucchini has been added, then we're gonna add 3 eggs into the pan. Now all the sort of wet ingredients are gonna go on the bottom, so the zucchini, the 3 eggs. Eventually we will add the dry ingredients on the top, but it'll all mix together in the machine. Okay, now I need 80 grams of unsalted shredded butter. I think that's so much, but I guess we'll see. Oh, yeah, it says it's about 1.5 cups, which means I need to shred 3 sticks of butter. Okay, I'm not claiming this is a healthy recipe or anything like that, but probably with this much butter, it will be delicious. Their measurements seem to be way off. Just 1 stick was 66 grams. 70 grams. This is why we do weights. Okay, we measure by weight. Because if it said about 1.5 cups of shredded butter, I would take 1.5 cups in the stick and then shred it and put it in, which is not what they mean. Now I'm seeing that they mean we need you know, a cup and a half of the shredded butter, which adds a lot more volume. So anyway, always measure by weight because it's easy to get confused like I clearly am. So, okay, now this specifically says white granulated sugar. However, I'm not about that white granulated sugar life anymore. I have swapped everything with pure cane sugar, and it's just a 1-to-1 substitution with granulated white sugar. So I'm doing 120 grams of sugar. Perfect. $215 grams of flour, all purpose. And here's the baking soda. So we're gonna do our substitution. It calls for a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. So I'm gonna add a full teaspoon of baking powder as the substitute. And then I'm going to do 3 teaspoons of baking powder, which is the actual amount of baking powder you're supposed to have. Okay. We're good. Now, make sure the flour is like evenly spread out over all the other ingredients, and then the baking soda and baking powder are in the middle, not touching any of the liquid ingredients. All right, now that that's all mixed, we're gonna just plop it back into the bread machine. This is menu number 22 on my bread machine. If you have the same one, it's menu number 22. Otherwise, you may have to look on your bread machine for a similar recipe or menu item. But I'm on 22, takes 1 hour and 49 minutes for a 1.5 pound loaf, medium crust. So we're all done. I will see you in 1 hour 49 to take this out, let it cool, and then we'll do a taste test. Okay, it was time to take it out after 2 hours and have it cool. Now, I was a little bit shocked at how small this was, but I guess it is about the size of a 1.5 pound loaf. I usually just make bigger loaves, so that's why, but it is kind of the normal size if you were to put it into a bread pan like normal, so it's comparable for sure. Now, I couldn't even wait for it to cool because I was so excited to try it, so I tried it hot. It was delicious. I have made, at this point, probably 4 of these loaves. I also tried it in a regular bread pan. It works perfectly there too. You just cook it for about 40 minutes or a little bit less. But that is all for this week's video. This was absolutely delicious. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next week for another video. Bye, everyone.